Elon, welcome. So, Elon, a few hours ago, you made an offer to buy Twitter. Why?
How'd you know?
Little bird tweeted in my ear or something, I don't know.
By the way, have you seen the movie Ted about the bear?
I have.
It's a good movie.
Don't mention that here.
Was there a question?
Why make that offer?
Well, I think it's very important for there to be an inclusive arena for free speech, where all, Twitter has become kind of the de facto town square. It's just really important that people have both the reality and the perception that they are able to speak freely within the bounds of the law. One of the things that I believe Twitter should do is open source the algorithm and make any changes to people's tweets. If they're emphasized or de-emphasized, that action should be made apparent so anyone can see that action has been taken. So there's no sort of behind-the-scenes manipulation, either algorithmically or manually.
But last week when we spoke, Elon, I asked you whether you were thinking of taking over. You said, no way. You said, I do not want to own Twitter. It is a recipe for misery. Everyone will blame me for everything. What on earth changed?
No, I think everyone will still blame me for everything. Yeah. If I acquire Twitter and something goes wrong, it's my fault, 100%. I think there will be quite a few errors, yes.
It will be miserable, but you still want to do it. Why?
I mean, I hope it's not too miserable, but I just think it's important to the it's important to the function of democracy. It's important to the function of the United States as a free country and many other countries, and to help freedom in the world more broadly than the U.S. And so I think I think there's the risk, civilizational risk, is decreased if Twitter, the more we can increase the trust of Twitter as a public platform. And so I do think this will be somewhat painful, and I'm not sure that I will actually be able to acquire it. And I should also say the intent is to retain as many shareholders as is allowed by the law in a private company, which I think is around 2,000 or so. So it's not like it's definitely not from the standpoint of let me figure out how to monopolize or maximize my ownership of Twitter, but we'll try to bring along as many shareholders as we're allowed to.
You don't necessarily want to pay out 40 or whatever it is $1 billion in cash. You'd like them to come with you in the
yeah, but I mean, I could technically afford it.
I heard that. I heard that.
But what I'm saying is this is not a way to sort of make money. I think it's just that I think my strong intuitive sense is that having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization.
But you've described yourself.
I don't care about the economics at all.
Okay, that's cool to hear. This is not about the economics. It's for the moral good that you think it will achieve. You've described yourself, Elon, as a free speech absolutist. But does that mean that there's literally nothing that people can't say and it's okay?
Well, I think obviously Twitter or any forum is bound by the laws of the country that it operates in. Obviously there are some limitations on free speech in the US, and of course Twitter would have to abide by those
Right.
rules.
So you can't incite people to violence, like a direct incitement to violence. You know, you can't do the equivalent of crying fire in a movie theater, for example.
No, that would be a crime.
Yeah, right.
It should be a crime.
But here's the challenge: is that it's such a nuanced difference between different things. So there's incitement to violence.
Yeah.
That's a no if it's illegal. There's hate speech, which some forms of hate speech are fine. You know, I hate spinach.
I mean, if it's sautéed in a, cream sauce, it can be quite nice.
But the problem is, so let's say someone says, okay, here's one tweet: I hate politician X.
Yeah.
Next tweet is, I wish politician X wasn't alive, as some of us have said about Putin right now, for example. So that's legitimate speech. Another tweet is, I wish politician X wasn't alive, with a picture of their head with a gun sight over it. Or that plus their address. I mean, at some point, someone has to make a decision as to which of those is not okay. Can an algorithm do that? Or surely you need human judgment at some point?
No, I think, like I said, in my view, Twitter should match the laws of the country, and really, that there's an obligation to do that. But going beyond that, and having it be unclear who's making what changes to where, having tweets sort of mysteriously be promoted and demoted with no insight into what's going on, having a black box algorithm promote some things and not other things, I think this can be quite dangerous.
So the idea of opening the algorithm is a huge deal, and I think many people would welcome that, of understanding exactly how it's making the decision.
And critique it.
And critique
What I mean is, I think the code should be on GitHub, So then, so people can look through it and say, I see a problem here. I don't agree with this. They can highlight issues,
right.
Suggest changes in the same way that you sort of update Linux or Signal or something like that,
But as I understand it, at some point right now, what the algorithm would do is it would look at, for example, how many people have flagged a tweet as obnoxious, and then at some point a human has to look at it and make a decision as to, does this cross the line or not. That the algorithm itself can't, I don't think yet, tell the difference between legal and okay and definitely obnoxious. And so the question is, which humans make that call? I mean, do you have a picture of that? Right now, Twitter and Facebook and others, they've hired thousands of people to try to help make wise decisions. And the trouble is that no one can agree on what is wise. How do you solve that? Well,
I think we would want to err on this. If in doubt, let the speech, let it exist. It would have, if it's a gray area, I would say let the tweet exist. But obviously, in a case where there's perhaps a lot of controversy, that you would not want to necessarily promote that tweet. So I'm not saying that I have all the answers here, but I do think that we want to be just very reluctant to delete things and have just be very cautious with permanent bans. Timeouts I think are better than sort of permanent bans, and but just in general, like I said, how it won't be perfect, but I think we wanted to really have, like I said, the perception and reality that speech is as free as reasonably possible, and a good sign as to whether there is free speech is someone you don't like allowed to say something you don't like. And if that is the case, then we have free speech. And it's damn annoying when someone you don't like says something you don't like. That is a sign of a healthy, functioning, free speech situation.